Just because you had the last word doesn't mean I won't get stronger. I come up out of disaster. I'm the lead rebellion soldier. I will dominate. I will kill this game, and I still remain. I remain standing here. Whoa, I run this ship. I am an epidemic. Yeah, remember this. I am an epidemic. Whoa, oh.
Hi everyone, and thank you for joining Gwen and I today again for the Serverless September Friday streams. Hi Gwen, how are you feeling today?
I'm energized. I'm feeling good. It's Friday. We're gonna talk about a bunch of cool stuff. I'm excited. Feeling
Yeah,
good.
do you want to share with everyone what we're going to be talking about today?
Yes. So we're gonna be going through a couple of contributions. So content that's been
Yep.
submitted with the hashtag. We're gonna be doing some hands-on demos in the Azure portal for some Azure Functions things. And of course, always open to questions and comments from the chat. And yeah, we're going to have some fun.
Cool. And before we actually move forward, I would like to shout out to everyone in the chat. We have Obina, Obina Speaks. We have Tazno. I don't know how best to pronounce your name, Tazno. But Tazno is saying that your audio is distorted a bit. But Tazno, can you hear Gwen clearly? Like, with even though it's distorted, can you hear what she's saying when she speaks? I hope the answer is a yes. But thank you so much everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Obina. Thank you, Tazno. Like everyone who is streaming. Okay, cool. Tazno says that he or she can hear you. But cool. Let's get started. The first thing we would like to go through is to see like. But first of all, I'm going to like. Hi, Code Spaghetti. Thank you for joining us today. For everyone who wasn't here on Wednesday, every Friday of September, Gwen and I are going to go live and chat about like serverless stuff. So since serverless, like September is like the month of serverless, where everyone is allowed to like write, like this is the only time you're excused to write only serverless content. So like nobody's going to ever blame you for writing in nothing but serverless content in September. So we are going to be like going through some of those content that people have written and submitted with the hashtag Serverless September, and we'll highlight some things that we'll find very interesting while going through it, and like we'll chat with you all through like this content. And the chat is always there for you to like shout out or like just introduce yourself, just let us know who you are, where you're from, what's your story about serverless. We'll be happy to like generally like just have fun with you. The chat is very interactive. We would generally pause even though we're working on demos, like talk to you if you say it in the chat. So before we move forward though, I would like to like ask everyone to please be very respectful of every other person's space. This is a very safe environment, so we want to make sure that anyone can join us and have a good time and a great time just like you want to as well. That's it. Let's get started. I'm going to quickly show the dev.to article we have, which is where we keep track of every single submission so far. So people don't generally submit on like write content on Fridays, but for the month of September we've had like 2 days for people to submit. The first one is the first day was the 2nd of September, or the first day was the 1st of September apparently, which was the day that Gwen made her amazing video. Hi Gwen. And then the 2nd of September we had 2 articles. The first one is titled Event Sourcing and CQRS on Azure Serverless Functions by Duncan Jones, and the second one is Event Sourcing with Azure Cosmos DB Change Feed and Azure Functions. Now, these 2 articles are, even though they are from 2 different authors, I'm going to open them quickly on the page so you can see them, and I'm going to make this a bit bigger. let's see. Now this was published. The first one was published on LinkedIn, and I like, even though they are different authors, I like how the first author like wrote a high level explanation of what event sourcing is, and then the second author basically like developed more on this article and like had like a practical example on how to do event sourcing with like how to build a full backend application with serverless and event sourcing. Now the thing that's really cool about this is that Duncan was worried about like costs, and he basically like wanted to find a way to like manage costs when it comes to like infrastructure. And the two things he addressed when it comes to like addressing where costs come from is, one, the fact that some systems are always on, which like this is like a very good, this is where virtual machines are like very good examples, where you have like systems that are just like, you might have just one customer, but you have like an expensive virtual machine that is constantly on and no one is using it, and they're paying for that virtual machine every single month. And then the second one is let's see, the second one is over provisioning, where because you couldn't measure how many resources your customers would use in the cloud, you end up like just to stay on a safer side, like over provision, and then you end up paying for what you're not using. This, of course, like this is something that Serverless has been boasting about being able to solve. Now he tried to solve this, and he was successfully trying to solve this problem by using event sourcing and serverless functions. We're not going to go into details of what these are, but basically, like, event sourcing is just like a rather event-driven system where there's like a state and there are like events being triggered to like manipulate that state. So if you are really interested in this kind of stuff, if you want to build your full backend, like a very like good and scalable backend with just serverless functions, this is the article for you. It's a very good read. I loved going through it. And do you want to say anything about event sourcing, Gwen?
What I can add is the article by Duncan Jones. I like that Duncan is utilizing table storage, which I feel is one of the services that people tend to like. People automatically want to use like Cosmos DB because it might have like more features or it's more powerful. But the amount of things and projects that you can get done with table storage is kind of I mean, this is a great example. So I'm glad he used table storage for this.
Yeah, I also learned this really funny thing called concurrency crocodile. Apparently it's like, I never heard of it before. Apparently it's like it's like a very interesting thing to the name. You know, like how crocodiles attack their prey. They are very very smooth in like sneaking up on like their prey and stuff like that. It's the kind of thing that you get from, like, I understood like the way this made sense to me for all the programmers out there is whenever you hear like, I think, edge cases, right? This is like kind of thing. It's a bit related to like what happens when you try basically like I have two things trying to use the same resource and then something goes wrong. I don't have a complete picture of it, but like it sounded really interesting and I felt like it was nice to highlight it in the stream. Thank you so much, Duncan, for working on this. This is amazing. Before we move on to the next content that was submitted, hi, Deadloop is back. Thank you. It feels nice to like have familiar faces back. Thank you for joining us once more, and thank you, Coffee Code. Hi, thank you for joining us. Hi everyone. Thank you for being here. We have a lot of viewers today, which is quite fascinating. Thank you all. Please feel free to use the chat. Don't be shy. Like, we are very very active on the chat on the chat, and we basically just like say hello and like just like make fun of everyone. So feel free to say hello, tell us where you are or where you're from or like what you're working on. Like, just say anything. It doesn't have to be like, this is not an official stream. This is just Gwen and I trying to connect with you and have fun. Hi Tony, thank you for joining us. Feel free to let us know where you're from or like what you're working on recently with Serverless. We'll be happy to like chat with you on that. Cool. Let's talk about Daniel's more hands-on example. This I didn't have Like I didn't have the time to go like working on like following this example, like what Daniel did here, one after the other. But like it was exciting to see that you can actually do the same. Like you can basically while Duncan's article was very high level, trying to explain how things worked. Daniel took the time to go a little bit deeper to show you like really like actual hands-on examples of how to do this kind of stuff. So this is where you start seeing like architectural diagrams, and you start seeing like screenshots on how to set up stuff, and you start seeing writing some code and all this kind of stuff. So if infrastructure is your thing and you want to set up stuff with serverless and like you want to go crazy with serverless, these two articles I strongly recommend you read through them. Yep. So when should we talk about what happened today, like at the submissions today?
Yeah. Well, one thing I want to add about what was Daniel, I believe. He's utilizing the Cosmos DB trigger, which I'm a big fan of. It makes everything so much easier when you're using Cosmos. So it's cool that we have like an event sourcing example with table storage, and then we also have one with Cosmos DB.
Cosmos DB, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For everyone wondering what like triggers, we'll have like a hands-on examples today, and you would like learn about some of these terms and what they mean. And don't worry like if you're worried about your programming language, or whether it's like your language the language you write, or your like major programming language is going to like most of the things we are going to do today. First of all, we're going to like build whatever we're doing today into languages. That said, like everything you learn today can be applied to any programming language. It doesn't matter like what your background is. So don't feel like left out or anything. Cool. Okay, for today we had Haitham. Right, he wrote about like this is on a different level now. We are no longer in the event world. We are like in one of our favorite places, which is the Azure Static Web App. He wrote about how to create an Angular to-do list with Azure Static Web App. So let's see what we got here. If I open this, so this great guy Haitham, he wrote like a two-part articles. The first part basically shows you how to set up like a project, deploy the project setup, like set up like a front end to do app and deploy it to static app. But then where it gets really interesting is that when you scroll to the bottom and click on the next post, it opens a new tab which like shows you how to literally like use like combine static web apps and serverless functions. So static web app becomes the API that backs your that supports your front end app. So in this case, he can now persist all his to-dos to like a storage using like serverless function, which is quite interesting. This is a really good read for all the front-end developers out there who want to like see how they can like have like a back-end app, like a back-end API for all their front-end projects. Even though it's in Angular, like the same principle applies to Vue, React, Next, Nuxt, whatever your jam is. Yeah, so let's do some shout outs. Deadloop is saying really interested in the DP900 sats and hopefully an article for Azure functions. Deadloop, I've never heard about the certification called DP900, but this is I'm literally going to write this down and like make sure in the next stream I will like tell you more about it. And Mark Duka is saying hi, thank you for joining us, Mark. Feel free to like
hi Mark.
Yeah, feel free to like tell us more about like what you've been working on with serverless or what you are curious about and stuff like that. Cool. Just as a reminder, and just like Ian said, please be respectful of everyone's space. Like we need everyone to like enjoy this process just as much as you want to, and that entails being very respectful of their spaces and like having a lot of empathy towards people, and like like all those like really just be ethical and be nice to everyone, and we'll all be fine. Cool. Let's see what we have. Yeah, so the last article we had for today was this one by Barbara Forbes. and it's on automating with GitHub and Azure function apps. So let's see what Barbara wrote about. Cool. So for all of you who like love automation, like all the automation junkies out there, this is one of the things you would really enjoy. Like I like the fact that she showed like different possible examples. Like there's one on the exactly the example. There's one like where you can like auto reply new issues. Like basically if someone like submits an issue to or like submit an issue to your GitHub repository, you can have a bot that automatically replies them, and this bot can like basically like trigger like functions and like get some information and like do some stuff. You can like start like doing like use every other cloud stuff. You can connect every other cloud stuff and like do whatever you want with that data and then automatically reply those issues. There is one for file storage where she was saying that if someone's like submitted, like maybe someone sent a pull request that contained an image, you can basically grab that image and put it on a website and stuff like crazy stuff like that. And the last one is like using gist for source code. This is one I find very interesting because when we were working on the 25 days of serverless website is basically like everything, the content and the code is basically definitely on GitHub, but we were able to like pull content like using like serverless functions from GitHub and then basically like pass the markdown file and like from markdown to HTML and then present it on the browser, which I find really fascinating. Thank you, Barbara, for this one. This is super interesting. If you love automation a lot, this is the article you should read. So I guess today we covered event sourcing. We covered
static web apps.
Yeah, static web apps. I forgot my favorite, Gwen. Yeah. and then now we have automation. So like people like there are like different categories here. So whatever you find interesting, you can jump on the dev.to post where we are like collecting all of our content for this year. So just Google for hashtag Serverless September 2020 content collection. It should land you on this article by Lucy, and you should see all of the like content that have been submitted by everyone. Cool. If you have any questions, let us know before we head to like the exciting part, which is like building the demos. If you have any questions, let us know in the chat and we'll be happy to like address them, or just like shout out, or if you want us to shout out, just like say hi and we'll shout out your name and like all this kind of nice stuff. And while we wait for people to shout out, let's find our let's go find our demo for today. When Canelo is worried about your audio. Or can you hear her like at least?
Yeah, I don't get what the issue is. Let's see, you're sometimes it's okay.
Okay, I'm going to make everyone a promise. Gwen and I we didn't have enough time from between Wednesday and now to figure out the audio, but like we'll have a whole week till next week Friday. So like be rest assured we'll have the audio figured out. But as much as possible, if you don't hear anything, just like feel free to like stop us in the chat and we would be happy to go over like whatever wasn't clear. Cool. And thank you for joining us, Canelo. Thank you so much. Yan is saying that we need to crowdfund a new headset for Gwen. Awesome. Okay, let's do this demo. Gwen, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. Cool. So the exciting thing about this demo is it's a learn module. It's supposed to be fun and everyone has access to it. You don't need any code editor. You don't need it's like one of the most accessible demos and function you can get out there because you just need your browser to start like get started with serverless function. And this is because even to deploy, there's a sandbox set up for you, so you don't have to do anything. Now, you can learn with us in one of the following ways. This is going to be very slow paced. So if you want to like follow along, that would be great. Would love you to do that. At the same time, this is being recorded and we'll upload the video. So if you just want to pay attention and make sure you understand everything we're saying, or like watch out for where you might want to ask questions or what you might like not understand when you watch the video yourself, then please like say stuff in the chat and we'll like get to you immediately. IO stream is saying, would you like to take part in this is I think this is this is like an ad or like a spam, stuff like that. Cool. Okay, let's so yeah, for everyone who is wondering, if you like, this is how you get to this learn module. If you go to your browser and just search for MS-Learn Serverless, and let's see, let's open this learning part called Create Serverless Application Learning Part. Now, this whole learning part will help you like go from like beginner to a much more comfortable person with serverless. But I think we care more about this create serverless logic with Azure function. This is like the bare basic. This is like where or if you've never done serverless in the past, this is what you should get started with. So if you want to join us, you click on this one and then we can get started. So I already like went through this, but I'm just going to click on the introduction part. But if you haven't gone through this, you should see like a start button here, and just click on start and you get started. So I'm just going to go through from introduction once. Deadloop is asking, Edge, how do you like it so far? What browser are you using?
I use Edge and Firefox.
Yeah. So I used Deadloop. I used Chrome, and then because of performance issues, I moved to Safari. Now, at some point, I realized like there are some times when people tell you that you don't have to optimize. Yeah, Deadloop said he hates Chrome, but like there's sometimes you are tempted to like over optimize, and that was what I did by moving to Safari. I know Safari is really fast, but then it wasn't giving me like everything I needed in a browser. I had to like then that was when like Edge was being released and all those kind of stuff. So I was like, let me give an entirely new browser a chance. And this has been a great experience for me. It has this thing called collection, where I can literally like save everything here in one collection and close all the tabs. So it's a good way to optimize, like when you know like I don't want to lose my tabs, but my computer is slow because of all these tabs. You can basically like save everything you have into this collection and like close all the tabs, and then you can just access the tabs from the collection. And but then the collection is just links. It's not like an open tab that is running on the process. It's just links that direct you back to where you originally were before you closed all the tabs. Cool. Okay, so how we're going to do this, we have two languages we're going to visit today, which is Node, and yeah, Mark said he really likes this like collection feature, which that's one of the reasons why I switched to Edge. Cool. We are going to build a serverless API with Node, and then we also build a serverless API with .NET. So if you're a JavaScript developer or a C# developer, you are lucky. At least we have like two developers here who like have experience working on both. But if you do like Python or other programming languages, every single thing you learn here can be applied to those languages. So please don't feel like this is not your place. This is you're equally welcome like every other JavaScript or .NET developer in the room. So don't feel discouraged. Just follow when I get to the point where you would need to pick your language, I will tell you what to do and you can just follow along. Mark is saying there's something called game surfing in Edge. I've never heard of.
Yeah, the surf game in Edge. You've
What's
never
what?
played it?
No. Let's see. Let's see what we have. They says Edge surf.
Yeah, surf. It's a little
Whoa,
game that you can play.
this is so cool. Thank you, Mark. I've at least like when I feel like I should take a break, this is what I should start doing because it feels like I'm at a beach and then I'm watching people surf, and it's this is so cool. So, whoa, what happened? So I just like avoid all the bumps, right?
Yeah.
Wow,
You try to get as far as you can.
Okay, this is Mark. You shouldn't have shown me this. We're supposed to be learning serverless today, not playing games. But because this is so cool and distracting. Yeah, I just lost. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I think one day I would just like just stream maybe on a Wednesday and we'll just play like surfing game. Cool. Okay. So introduction. This is the introduction on here is way too serious to describe, in my opinion, to describe what serverless is. But like what the only thing you need to know is that as a developer you need an API. You need an API as quickly as possible, and not just like you have to like set up infrastructure, like set up like a lot of things to be able to just like have a simple backend for your app. So in that case, if you're in that situation where you just need to like have a quick HTTP endpoint, I know that serverless is way bigger than that. But if you just need like a quick endpoint that can respond to like either HTTP requests or event triggers and stuff like that, serverless is what you want to be using. So we're not going to like go through this introduction. It's a bit more complex, trying to like explain what you can use serverless for. Now, next thing that the learn mode tries to describe is what serverless compute is, which is basically what I just described. But then what is Azure Function? Now, Azure Function is a serverless application platform. So it's like an instance of it's one of the solutions that you can use for all your serverless like related concerns. So this is what we're going to be using today. We're going to be using Azure Functions, but there are like a lot of other function serverless providers out there that you can like check out and see the one that works for you. But because Gwen and I are more comfortable with functions, that's what we'll be showing you today. Now, I know like for you to be here, you already like know a bit about like the benefits of like using serverless compute. Like we've mentioned that a lot. We talked about it on Wednesday. Like I've said some few words about it today. So, but basically, like you know that one of the things I always like mention is infrastructure. You don't have to worry about infrastructure anymore. You don't have to worry about like allocating infrastructure, or like am I using the right size of stuff, or am I when should I scale up or down? All these things are managed for you based on how many, like based on the bandwidth, or like how many resources your customers are consuming. So if you have like 10,000 customers, a serverless will give you the resources you need to manage 10,000 customers. If your customers grow to 100,000 people, it would scale up for that. If you lose customers and it comes down to 5,000, it will scale down to that. So you end up not overspending on infrastructure. One of the really great things about it too is this event-driven concept, which basically is that a function does not trigger unless and only unless if something makes it trigger. So you don't have like in the case of virtual machines where you have like an infinitely running system. If your function sleeps when it's not being used, and once it's sleeping, you're not paying for it, which is why it gets even cheaper. If your function is not being used, no cost is there is no no cost is acquired. So there are downsides to this which we would like visit soon. But like this is a very important feature to be aware of. The fact that if no one makes a request to your serverless API, you're not going to pay for anything. Now there are some drawbacks to it, which is like the execution time. We'll get to this when we talk about like the two types of functions you can, like the two types of two types of ways you can deploy functions. We'll talk about this very soon, which is this execution time, like the reason why it's a problem, and then I will also like describe like ways I solve this problem, just in case if that works for you. There are different ways people like to use for this, but that's what works for me. And execution frequency is like function makes, if you're going to have like like a lot of concurrent requests going into your function API or your function endpoint or whatever you have going on, you might have to reconsider whether you want to use a serverless function or like a VM. There is a great article by one of my colleagues' work, which is titled "Is Serverless Really as Cheap as Everyone Claims?" So he breaks down all the calculation like that goes into like how you're priced for function. And then he has this analogy of what would happen if Facebook wanted to build the entire Facebook with serverless. So like he described like how things might go crazy and become like really super expensive if you're not careful. So if you know you're going to be expecting a lot of like concurrent requests to your API, then you might reconsider whether that is the only time where you might like reconsider whether you want to use a serverless function. Now, mind you that there's a difference between concurrent requests and like a number of execution you are having. So like if you have 10,000 customers who call your endpoint, if they don't like, there's a chance it might be just be 5 people who concurrently call that endpoint at a particular time. So that you wouldn't have any reason to like worry about whether you should move to a VM instead. So even if you have like 1 million customers, but at a particular millisecond you don't have like a lot of people pinging your serverless endpoint, then it should be fine. That said, let's see what we have in the next page in the learn module.
That was a lot of information.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions or comments? That was a good summary, though.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I don't want to just like read through it because it might be boring to people, but like I wish like I made a lot of sense trying to describe what was going on.
Yeah, I think that was a good summary.
Yeah. Cool. I'm not sure if anyone is confused, if anyone has anything to say, but if you have questions, about like concurrency and all this kind of stuff, just like put it on the chat and we'll be happy to like answer it before we move on. Thank you, Gwen, for like slowing me down. We must be doing.
It looks like no questions.
We must be doing something
Keep
right.
Going.
Thank you. We must be doing something right today because like no viewers has dropped today and the number keeps increasing. Thank you all for joining, and feel free to not even if you're listening to us and maybe making dinner or breakfast or lunch for yourself, like just say hi in the chat and we'll like just let us know what you're doing or whatever. It's like it's a very relaxed environment. It's not all code. We just chat about stuff. We literally just played and like a surfing game before, like if you just in case you missed it. Cool. Okay, let's thank you, Deadloop. Okay, let's move on. Let's see what we'll have here. So this is the first time this is an exercise. So we're going to create a function app now. At this point we're going to need a sandbox. So if this is your first time using, or like if you haven't, even if you've used the Learn sandbox before, it should have expired if you don't use it in the past 4 hours. So just you will see a call to action here that replaces this time. Just click it to like sign into your account and like set up a sandbox. Because I already have this set up already earlier today, for like 2 hours ago. You can see it to your accounting. I don't need to set up the sandbox anymore. But basically, setting up just means like you click on the button, it redirects you to your Microsoft account or like whatever account you have that's connected to your Azure account, or even if you don't have an Azure account, it will help you create one. Then once you do it, to bring you back to the learn page, and then you would have something like this going on. You will have the timer going on. So once you have this, then you're set up to go on. So I'm going to slow down just in case anyone wants to set up their sandbox, and then before we move on. While we are waiting, you can like say hi in the chat. Or say hi. Ose, I don't know if the Nigerian way of pronouncing your name is Ose. So if you're Nigerian, I hope I could pronounce it correctly. But hi, thank you so much. This is I know you're trying to shout out to me, but there is also someone here who you should also shout out to, which is Gwen, who I'm streaming with. Thank you so much. Hey, Jeff is Jeff. Jeff just joined. Just said hi. Gwen, do you know Jeff?
Oh, Jeff Holland. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course I know Jeff Holland.
Yeah. now, like
Hi,
I have every reason to start feeling like nervous because Jeff is good at this kind of stuff. Now it's going to be like, oh no, Chris and Gwen is like totally messing this up. You should. But thank you for joining, Jeff. Thank you for saying hi. I'm just trying to wait for people to set up their sandboxes, so we don't leave people behind.
Yeah, it's cool. Sandboxes are like that. It's just built into the Learn module is so useful, especially when you're brand new and you don't know. You know, just yesterday I saw someone on Twitter talking about how they had to end up paying like $50 a month or something because they were following a tutorial and they forgot to erase the resources.
Wow.
So having something like the sandbox built into the Learn module is so cool. And kudos to the team who came up with this idea.
Yeah, if anyone is on the Learn modules team and is joining us, Gwen is shouting out to you. But yeah, like it's a time saver for me. Sometimes I have like I just want like a clean environment to try stuff without forgetting to shut down like resources or like I know this is not this is not the best thing to say, but I am not like when it comes to like infrastructure stuff like this, I'm not good at cleaning up after myself. So I think I know like I'm happy Jeff is here. I know Jeff has like a demo he told me once about that he uses to like basically like sends him notifications on his phone. I think he did this with durable function or something like that. So he sends him notifications and like tells him to like, oh hey, you've not used your resource in the past like days, and then he can basically go in and clean them up and stuff like that, which is super cool.
Yep. Should we move forward?
Yep. Thank Emmanuel is saying we shouldn't feel nervous. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, and thank you for joining us. Cool. Okay, so let's continue. I feel like everyone should have their sandbox set up now. Unless you are still deciding which email you should use for Azure. Cool. So I'm not going to go through this article because it's like this page because I already I've gone through it and I understand what's going on. But before we jump into like doing what we need to do, I want to like highlight a few things. I've been avoiding talking about like what execution time, like wide execution time is the downside of serverless functions. Now there are two service plans that Azure provides for you when it comes to Azure functions. The first one is the consumption service plan, and the second one is the Azure app service plan. Now the difference between this is that the consumption service plan is the actual thing that represents a serverless platform. As for app service plan, it's basically like a VM that hosts a function, which in that case it makes a serverless function lose 50% of what it means, because the idea of function is that you don't have to manage infrastructure or anything. But with Azure service plan, you have to this is just the solution you have to use if you don't want to deal with the execution time problem. Now, this execution time problem is basically the fact that there is, like when I told you that functions are, the way they are architected, they are event driven, which means that they can't, like, which means that unless you like make a request or something, that's when they actually start using up resources to like handle that request. In that case, there are chances that the services or both the function app itself would be sleeping when you make a request because it's idle, it's not doing anything. So to save you money, it sleeps. This is like the down, like this is like the trade-off for like being very affordable. It sleeps when it's not being used. So the time frame before it goes to bed is 5 minutes. I know you can configure it to 10 minutes according to this learn page, but it's 5 minutes. So if there's no request to your serverless function in 5 minutes, if you're someone who have a lot of customers, this might not happen. But if you just have few customers who don't always like visit your function endpoint, it basically means that after 5 or 10 minutes it would sleep. Now, this is the only problem with this, is that the next time someone tries to make a request to this serverless API or function or whatever you are using it for, the next time someone tries to use this endpoint, it would be comparably slow to like the previous times people like have made requests to it. So it wouldn't come up immediately. It wouldn't handle requests immediately. It would take some time to boot up the services once more and then handle that request. If you were here last week Wednesday, Jeff is saying stop me from spending too much on Cosmos, like I think Gwen did once. did you once spend too much on Cosmos?
Yeah, it was, so Cosmos DB has like a free tier now.
Yeah.
But it's new. I think it came out just a couple of months ago. So when I was first learning how to use Cosmos DB, it was, I think, like a year and a half ago or something.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was doing. So I kind of just like, I was at work and I was just playing around with we have a development subscription there. So yeah, then I forgot to erase the Cosmos account, and I think it ended up being like $1,000 or something, or like $1,200 or something like that.
What?
Yeah, because I forgot. Yeah, that was fun. But yeah, that's it's a good story to have to like remind people to erase their resources.
Yeah. Cool. So that's that. So we are talking about sandboxes and serverless functions today. These are the things that help you like they automatically manage resources for you, which is really cool especially for developers who are not used to having like a mindset towards infrastructure management. We are more like we just like spin up VS Code and write code, and we don't even close VS Code when we are done. We just minimize it. So we don't have that. we don't have that train of like closing stuff when we're done with it. Like that's why I have all these tabs open even when I know I don't need them anymore. So but yeah, cool. So back to how I deal with like the whole like code start for function, which is basically another name for this scenario situation, is that I don't this is me thinking like from a front end. I don't know if that's me just using a hammer, like because I have a hammer, everything I'm seeing looks like a nail, or maybe that's just me finally being smart for once in my life. But but like as a front-end developer, we are always taught or encouraged to be progressive, or like something called progressive enhancement. It's a very common term we use in front-end ecosystem. So what I do is if if I have like a long landing page and I know maybe somewhere at the beginning of the page people are just seeing like the branding, like what's the description of the site, which is mostly static. But then I know like somehow when you scroll down towards the bottom of the page, you might start seeing like previous articles, like previous blog posts, which are fetched through like a serverless API. Now, what I would do is once people land on that page, if once I notice that they start scrolling down or they are nearing towards like the part where they would start getting the blog post, I would asynchronously ping the function to wake up, and then once before the user gets to the point where they need to get the block, the function would probably be awake and then be able to like fetch those blog posts. And the tricky thing with this is that you have to find a way to manage it in a way that you don't just like everyone that's visit your page, because now you have like you're making like 2n requests per user just to like regardless on whether like the function is sleeping or not. You have to make 2 requests at a particular time just because you are trying to like make sure you have an optimized experience. So there are ways to hack around it, but I feel like most times people generally don't have so much problem with the whole code start thing. So yeah, like it shouldn't be like the fact that your function sleeps and it's not like it takes like it doesn't even take up to a minute to wake up. It takes like just few seconds to wake up, and then you can start handling requests again. Cool. And if anyone has ever run into this issue and want to like drop strategies in the chat on how they like work around this, we would like to talk about it while we go through this demo. Before I get started with the demo, I want to see if anyone has any questions in the chat. Thank you, Kayode. I also have Gwen with me here. I feel like I'm talking too much and people just like keep. I can't wait for you to do like your .NET stuff, and I'm just going to go to the chat and keep saying Gwen.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, let's start writing some. Let's start not writing some code, but start setting up some functions.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So if you're following along, just the only part you need from this page is this link here that says Azure Portal. You don't have to right click and open a new tab. Just click on it. It takes you to a new tab. Now what happens here is you have this is like what an Azure Portal looks like if you've never used Azure or done anything with Azure. You basically like have all the like this is like quick or recent resources you can use. This is like if you've created any resource recently, you would find them here. Mine are here because I've like while trying to make sure like I don't mess up during this demo, I had to like practice. So that's why these examples are here. That said, let's go ahead and create a new resource. So a resource is a name that is used to. A resource is like when you say a file on your computer. A file can be an MP3 file or a PDF file or a PNG file and so on and so forth. So resource is the mental model you can use for resources is to map it to file. So in the cloud environment, a resource either is a database or a serverless function or a virtual machine, an app service, or any of these things. So in this case, we want to create a new resource, which is going to be a function resource. So if we click on create a new resource, we need to find the serverless function resource. So you can either come here and just type function and click on function app, or click on compute to see all the compute from like these are categories for like all the resources, and then you can see be able to see function up here. If you click on it, you would need to fill out this just like 5 or 6 text boxes or select boxes to like describe how you want your function to be set up. Now this concierge subscription, this is not what you would see if you're not using a sandbox. If you are maybe just using an account directly, you would see like your personal subscription here. But for the sandbox, or everyone setting up using a sandbox right now, you would be seeing this concierge subscription. I find it so hard pronouncing this word. Yeah, and then the subscription also has a resource group set up for you. Now, a resource group, just like the way we are able to map files to resources, like the way we have files on our computer, we can map them mentally to resources. You can also map resource group to folders. So a resource group contains different resources. So it's like a folder that's like keeps track of all of your related resources. So I'm going to click on this existing resource group, which was also created by the Learn module sandbox. Now, if you are using your own personal account or subscription rather, you might want to click on create new, give your resource group a name and click OK. If you want to create if you want to create a new resource group. If you have an existing resource group, you want to add your function to just select it from here. You would see more than just this resource group when you're using your personal account directly. Now, once you have that, the next thing you want to do is to give your function a name. So I already use escalator function 91283. This is just like a random name. But I'm just going to change this to 345, whatever you want to name it. But you have to be aware of this though. Let me be sure. I don't know if I hope everyone is seeing my screen. If you're not seeing my screen, please let me know. I can always zoom in and zoom out and stuff. Can you all see my screen? Hoping someone says yes or no. But while we wait, I'm just going to keep moving forward because like when you're streaming, there's this 30 seconds. Okay, yeah, yes, cool. Cool. Let's move forward. Now we have we've given it a name, and you can either select just basic code or a Docker container. Like the point of this whole stream is to simplify things as much as possible. So we're not going to use Docker container. We're going to stick with the code version. And then this is the point where you choose your language. I'm going to go with Node.js. I know when Gwen would walk you through her steps, she would go with .NET, but I'm going to do like a Node.js example because I'm a JavaScript developer. And of course, I like all the latest version of stuff, so I'm going to go with a version 12 of Node.js. And then just choose any location close to you. I'm just going to stick with Central US because it doesn't matter right now. But in a real world scenario, just choose a location very close to you. Then once you've done this, you click Review and Create. And what the portal would do is to validate and make sure that all of your resource, like you filled out the form correctly and everything is set to go. And once if there's a problem, it would throw an error. If there's none, it will show you this button to actually create. So once you click on create, now this will take a little bit of time because it has to like set up like resources, create a storage account for you and all those kind of things. And speaking of storage accounts, I know we are just creating a function app, but this process will also create a storage account that will store things like the actual like code you write and push to the cloud, or like all the logs that you need to like keep track of would be stored in this storage account. So you can see the resources being created, the function, and then the storage account is currently being set up right now. So the storage account is used to like store things like artifacts for your function app. If you give it some minutes, it's quite fast when it comes to setting up function app. Unlike VMs that are slow to set up, functions are quick to like get going. While we are waiting, if you want to say anything or like shout out, please let us know. I'm happy everyone can see my screen at least.
Chat's being very quiet today.
Yeah. I think it's because the last one was like on Wednesday. We did more of a like ask us anything, so people were encouraged to ask questions, right? I think now like everyone is encouraged to, or they feel like they're encouraged to just watch and like learn. But please, like this is supposed to like we're supposed to like have conversations with you, so feel free to like maybe compliment my hair or Gwen's hair. Like yeah, but
amazing
like,
hair.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Deadloop is saying that they are absorbing the knowledge being shared. So okay, Gwen Ose has been shouting out to you. I think you should shout out to him too.
Let's say OC.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name.
Yeah, it's pronounced Ose. I hope I'm correct. Ose, like yeah, but that's I'm Nigerian, so I can maybe I'm trying. No, maybe we're not from the same tribe, but I think that's the correct way to pronounce it. Ose. Yeah.
Shout out to you.
Cool. Okay. So as you all can see, we have like the resource completely set up. Now we can either go to the resource by clicking on this link, but like just to make sure you have, like maybe if you ever just land on the Azure portal homepage and you want to find your resource, just click on the resource groups icon, and then you would find the resource group we created. Remember, we chose a resource group which belonged to the concierge subscription. Now if you open the resource group, you should find all the resources that were created. So if I scroll down, I think because let me see. My resolution is super like small, so everyone can see the screen that the resources are reading. Okay, let's see the deployment. So yeah, so these are like the things that were deployed. I wish I can see all the resources. Okay, let me just tab around and see.
You should be able to see it.
Yeah, I think I can scroll down because yeah, you can see that there's something going on here. Yeah, okay, I know what to do. If I zoom out, I hope I don't lose anyone. But yeah, yeah, exactly. If I zoom out, you all can see the resources and you can see our function here. You can also see the storage account for the function and other resources that are there to support the function's execution and stuff like that. But yeah, so this was the first one. This was the first. Now I've messed up by using the same name, but I know like the one that ends with 44 was the recent one I just created. So what you can do once you have this is to click on like the resource you've created. You can click on the function you've created. Once you click on it, it takes you to this whole new world that is just all about your function. So you have like all these menu are related to the function, not your Azure portal in general. This sidebar menu is just about the function. If you click on functions, right now you would get no results because we don't actually have any function that we've just said, okay, hey, set up an environment for functions to execute, but we haven't written any function. Now this is the point where we can start like adding like function and define what our function should look like or what our function should do. Now remember what I did is when you click, let me just go back a little bit and make sure I don't lose anyone. If you go back to your home, to your Azure portal home and click on resource groups, this is the resource group we've been using. You click on the resource group, you would find all of your resources. Now find the function you created. In this case, it's this escalator function 9128344. Click on the function, it would take you to like this whole place where you would see all the details about your function. Right now we are on the overview page and there's a URL attached to like your function. So if we open this URL, it will take us to this page is a very generic page because we haven't done anything, but would basically see like we'll get to like actually we'll end up having a JSON endpoint here at the end of the day. So but this is the function that's like, this is what the public URL to your function. Then if you click on the functions, just like I mentioned, we don't have any function yet. We've just created an environment, but not an actual function that would live in this environment. Now we can click on the add button, this plus icon here, to add a new function. So if you click on add, you can choose. So this is, remember when we were talking about triggers, this is where all the trigger stuff comes in. Now, a trigger is basically, just like we mentioned, a function is an event, and an event needs something to ask that event to execute. So in this case, those are triggers. Now you can use anything as a trigger. You can basically like set up a cron job using the timer trigger that just executes after every interval or just once. You can like have data stored in a queue storage, and it triggers a function to execute, and so on and so forth. So there are like a lot of triggers, but what we're going to be doing today is the HTTP trigger, which basically, just like every other trigger, is like runs the function, but in this case, this trigger is is it works by like going to a browser or any of your API clients and like typing in the URL and like executing like a request, and then this function will get triggered. So this is like a request based HTTP request based trigger. And if we click on this template, you can give your function a name. So let's just say let's just name it when party. And authorization, this is if you don't want if even though this is public but you want to protect your function from being accessed from anyone, you can like protect, like if you use an admin level protection, you will have one key that can access all the functions that are in this particular function, like in this particular serverless project we've created. But if you click on function, you have one key that is only attached to this particular when party function. So if I say admin, the key would protect escalator functions. If I say function, the key would protect when party. And if I pick anonymous, it's going to just be a public API. Okay. So if we click on the create function button, right now we don't have, we're not making, we don't have any sensitive data to protect, so we can just click on create function. And you can see it says successfully created, and this page basically redirects you to the actual function file. Now we are like 3 levels deep now. I'm going to go back and highlight those 3 levels. The first level is level 1 is the resource group, where we see all our resource groups. Level 2 is the function, like the resource group details, where we see all the things that are inside that resource group. In this case, we'll have like our function. Then level 3 is the actual function. So if you open the function, we've gone another level deep, where we have like details about the function. In this case, the escalator function. And then you click on functions and click Gwen party. We've gone one more, so actually 4 levels, not 3 levels. We've gone one more level deep, where we can start like writing code and all this kind of stuff. So this is where you start writing code and testing the code for your function. Now if we click on code plus test, you are going to see a simple a simple JavaScript code that basically what happens here is that when a request is sent, it checks if that request has a query, like a name in its query object or a name in its query body, and then it sends a response message based on that. So if it has a name, it's just saying if there's a name, okay, send hello name, this HTTP function executed successfully. If the name does not exist, it will say this HTTP triggered function executed successfully. Pass a name in the query string or in the request body for a personalized response. So let's see all that in action. If we click on test and run, you can literally just like test the function here. So if I put Gwen's name here and run, it's cool that you also have like logs here. So if anything goes wrong, you would like get all the details. And you can also see that we got the first message if a name exists. So because we've added a name in our input tab, added a name Gwen, the resulting output tab says hello Gwen. And if I go to the input and delete all of this and run once more, we would get the second message that it's actually executed. It's a 200 response, but there is no name to personalize your response, so which is super cool. You've seen like how you can pass in requests and they can pass in like data to the request. Now, of course, like your in your front end project, like you cannot use this API is useless. This is the only way you can use it, by like putting like request like payload here. What we want to do is to actually get the function URL. We copy the function, the URL, and open a browser and just paste the URL. Now see, remember like how we have like the base URL I showed you earlier? Then just do /API/ the function name and hit enter. Then you would get the same exact message we got when we didn't pass in a name. Now if I change this and put like say name equal to whose name should we use? Let's use dead loop. It says hello dead loop. This HTTP trigger function executed successfully. Cool. So I don't know about every other person, but like this is like the simplest way I've set up any API in my life. Like, and this you have all these scaling like features, or like this is, you don't have to do anything. Like literally, you are done with this endpoint. The only thing you just have to do is maybe like keep adding like business logic or like write some code to do some stuff, but you're done with infrastructure. There's nothing, and like this is seriously speaking, there's nothing else you have to do to this function to maybe like make it better. It's already a fantastic endpoint for your project. So you can just like copy this URL and start using it. You're done setting up your backend. So if you're, for me, who is a front-end developer, I like the fact that I don't have to spend so much time worrying about infrastructure, or like when is my server going to be down and all this kind of stuff. This is all managed for you by the Azure team, so you don't have to do anything anymore. Like this is just like plug and play. Thank you, Coffee Code, for like the emojis.
I think we should take a pause just to realize, like what. So we didn't write any code at all.
Exactly.
We kind of just clicked around a couple of settings, and we have a fully functioning. It's simple, but it's a fully functioning API.
Yeah.
Which I remember the first time I did this in the portal, I was just mind blown. I'm like, this is a complete piece. This is a complete application. Even though it's small, even though it's simple, it's a complete application just done for you. Like I think like the template that you're given, and then you just obviously you can add more code, and then you customize it to what you need and all that. But it's fully functioning right off a couple of clicks with some settings, right?
Yep.
So I don't know. I'm a big fan of this stuff, of course.
Yeah, like it's really amazing, and it's really cool because if literally in the browser also you get like all the like logs and everything, so which I find really fascinating. And Deadloop is saying it's really cool. It's really good with CLI too. Yes, it's like every single part of this is one thing I really have to give like a huge thumbs up to everyone on like the Azure function team. Every single feature, every single way you can use function is really like it's an amazing user experience. If you are using it from the browser, it's super easy to do that. If you're using it from the CLI, same thing. If you're using it from VS Code, like it's like, in fact, like this is literally hard compared to VS Code. Like VS Code is way easier than this. So we are doing this because we want to make sure like if you don't have like VS Code set up, you can still like use function. Like you don't have to have any development tools to start setting up your function API. That's why we're doing this. But with Visual Studio Code, is just like literally in your editor without doing anything. You just like set up like function API, which is super cool. Yeah. So we're going to chill for a while and like take some questions. Hi, Chike is shouting at to me. I just mentioned I've been talking so much, so everyone just keeps shouting at me. But well, I have Gwen here to she's going to show everyone how to use do the same thing I just did now, but with .NET. Thank you so much, Chike, for joining us. Cool. I like the fact I don't know, like I like the fact that he literally wrote out his full name, which makes it easier for me to pronounce. I think like people who are joining from Twitter have like their full name, and the people who are joining from Twitch have like the coolest name ever, like names like Deadloop and stuff like that. Cool. Okay, so like we can pause for like 5 minutes, go ahead and like take questions from people if anyone has any before we move on. If you have questions or if anything is confusing, like something doesn't make any sense, like you like something that you don't believe in, or like just like the chat room is open to you. Okay, Deadloop said he chose Deadloop because Deadpool is taken.
Dead. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think I prefer Deadloop though. It's as as someone who is tech inclined, it feels like it's intentional, like probably like a loop that was infinite and then gave up at some point. Yeah, like a Stack Overflow loop. Yeah.
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 All right. A few more minutes, and then we'll do the .NET
.NET, yeah.
example.
Yep. I just want to make sure like no one was left behind, and also like if you are worried about like if you are like you should really feel comfortable like asking questions, but if you don't, please feel free to like tag us on Twitter later, or like watch the video at the end, which would I'll find a way to make the video available to everyone because it's being recorded. I hope you all are enjoying the music too. I just like found an upbeat playlist and just like a station on upbeat like sounds and just kept playing them.
Mhm. When you code, do you listen to music?
Yeah, I do. I like listen. So I don't listen to. I use this thing called Brain.fm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know that. I've used it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Is it Deadloop wants to hear some of your song. Yeah.
I was we talked about that with you,
yeah.
Kobe's, that we both made music. Yeah.
Yeah, so for everyone who is interested in stuff like this, Gwen and I are super heavy on music. So like I do more of like DJ stuff. She do more of like she does all the creative part. Like I just mix people's song. Like, but yeah, like Gwen should definitely like do this party for us. Maybe like at the end like the last day of the stream this for September would like have a DJ and Gwen session.
Ooh, have a little party. Yeah, that would be cool.
It seems like Deadloop does like music stuff too. Do you? Yeah, Mark said we should have like a serverless band. We should start that and like, which is super cool because now like we don't need like with like the whole COVID situation, we don't need to be at events to like show off our skills, so we can like have like live streams of parties and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! I think this is the first time Zedel is saying hi today. Hi Zedel, thank you for joining us once more. I remember him from Wednesday. I'm so sorry if your pronoun is not him, but like I'm so sorry for that assumption.
Cool. All right.
Okay.
Should we move forward?
Yep. Let's do this. So you can like set up like a new one with .NET now.
Okay. You want me to take control right now?
Yes.
All right. Let me see if this works. You see me? Like I will try to use Azure Functions to distribute my music, probably.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense.
All right, everyone. So I'm gonna probably walk through the very similar steps that Christian did, but we're just gonna use .NET. So the same process. We're gonna click on create a resource, and it's in compute, and then we'll scroll down to function app, and the subscription is this one, right? And we'll select the same resource group that we had. One thing I wanted to add about resource groups is typically, so you mentioned it's like a folder. So you have your files, your folders, you have your resources, and your resource groups. Ideally, you use resource groups to put like an entire solution inside of one group. That way, you can like delete it later in like an easier way. And then it's like a lot. it helps you stay organized, right? Instead of having like a bunch of random resource groups. So that's just one thing I wanted to add there. Okay, so now we need to create a unique name. Let's just do
Yeah.
.NET Core Demo. There we go. That's got to be unique. Okay, cool. So we're gonna select the best programming language ever, and then everything else is, we'll keep it on 3. Yeah,
Okay.
and then everything else should be fine. Let me scroll down here. Yeah, you said the region doesn't matter, right? Yeah, because we're in a sandbox.
Yeah.
So we'll just hit review and create. And then we'll hit create. All right, let's give it a few minutes to deploy.
I'm going to see which one was faster to deploy, JavaScript or .NET. And if JavaScript was faster, I'm going to I'm going to make fun of you so much.
Hey, I forgot to tell this when we were talking about the Azure App Service, but I tried. I think like 2 days ago, after our first stream, I was like, let me play around with with JavaScript and Azure App Service. So I like deployed like just like a vanilla JavaScript app, and I was like, this is pretty cool. And then yesterday I was playing with Vue.js. I think I'm gonna learn a little bit more.
I saw your video on Twitter on Vue.js. I was so excited to see like you're having fun with it, and the demo looked so cool. Like the demo that changes like the background based on like the temperature of like the weather and stuff. Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah, and it's so easy. I think I always thought it was gonna be like, oh my gosh, like what am I getting into? Because I'm more of an infrastructure person. Like you're more of a developer. I'm more of an infrastructure person.
Yeah.
So anything front end related, I don't know. You know what is going on. But it like Azure App Service really makes it like, I mean Azure Static Web Apps really makes it like super easy. But whoa, what happened? I saw it got canceled.
Yeah.
Wait,
I think it's a notification. It says
deployment was canceled. Why? Is it because we did too many?
Oh, is that possible? Is there a way to like clean up everything?
What if we just created a different resource group?
Okay. Okay. What we can do is since like everyone know they can do this with their sandbox, let me just like log into my normal like account. Yeah, and then we can just do it from there, because I feel like there's a limitation to sandboxes. So I'm just going to go to portal.azure.com and let's see. I hope this is the sandbox. But
if you hit switch directory, that should change you.
Okay. Yeah, this is the correct one. Found. And that's all.
Yes, someone's asking how often do we do this? So this is every Friday for the month of September.
Yeah.
So the next stream after today is going to be Friday. What's next Friday? Let me see.
I think it's 11th.
11.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So
okay.
Got it.
Yeah. So
okay. So let me go back into compute and we'll scroll down to function app. And okay, cool.
Fine. So you can create a new resource group.
Yeah, so we'll just say demo resource group. Oh yeah, that's that function demo. So you know which one to erase later on.
Yeah.
And we'll call this ims.net core demo. Okay, and then code is fine. .NET Core 3, everything else is great. Review and create. And cool, create. All right. Someone says, okay, thanks. And is it going to be the same topic? So it's serverless. The topic overall is serverless, but I think our goal is to advance in I guess like difficulty level. So this was like getting started, and I don't remember what next week's topic is, but the goal for the entire month is for you to have a good foundation of how to get started with serverless. We have a couple of topics we're gonna try to address. Okay, cool. It looks like it's working now.
Cool. By the way, JavaScript finished first. I told you I was going to pick on you.
Come on. You're making me look bad.
I think it should be done soon. Function is pretty quick when it comes to deployment.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a VM, I would like set it up and then go have like dinner. Yay, it was successful.
Okay, so let's go to the resource. And you went over all of this already, so I'm just gonna go into functions, and then we're gonna create a new one. And we're gonna select the HTTP trigger just to follow the same example. I think it's probably like the most popular.
Yeah, it's the most popular one.
Yeah. Did you leave this out in function?
Yeah, I did anonymous.
The authorization?
Yeah, I did anonymous.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's go to code and test.
Yay.
And there we go. If anyone is familiar with .NET or you are a .NET developer, this probably looks very familiar to what you're working with. And like I said before, like we didn't write any of this. This gets all generated for us with just a couple of clicks. So that's cool. The logic is pretty much the same. We're getting a request, and if inside of the request we get a value for a name, then we're just going to either return the string here or return the other option, right? So let's see. Let's execute it. Let's go test run. And again, no matter which language you're using, in terms of the functionality.
Sorry, yeah, that's just like the music stuff. It's okay. You can just give me a second. It's like, yeah, it should be fine now.
Okay. Well, scroll down here, and we'll say again the testing is the same. Christian used Node, and I'm using .NET. Everything is the same, right? And then you see that hello made by GPS. This HTTP trigger function executed successfully. And if we did the same, run it here, but we removed this, and then we run it once more. We get the other string.
Peter is excited on your behalf because your demos are working. Yeah, hi Peter, thank you for joining us today. For everyone out there, Peter is actually my cousin. Thank you.
So yeah. Let's do it in the browser, but let's change it a little bit. Hello. We'll just change it to this to like, no, just this part. Okay. So then we'll open up we'll have to hit save to apply the changes. And then we need the function URL. And we'll copy this URL here. And we'll just paste it in here. And we'll just execute it without the query first.
Yeah. Cool.
Great. So now if we add
Oh no, I think
name.
you
Oh, hold
cleared
on.
it. Yeah.
Oh, I just control Z.
Yeah.
There we go. So then if I do name equals .NET Core, did I do that right? Oh no.
No.
What happened?
Yeah, let's try it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, then the query string.
Equals .NET Core.
Yeah, it should work now. Enter. Yeah.
Hello, .NET Core is the best. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, and see, we edited the code just a little bit, but again, all of this is generated for us with a couple of clicks. And in terms of like the environment, how we executed things, how we tested things, that was all the same versus like, Node versus .NET. So it really is, it's really easy to get going with, if you're a Python dev, I think PowerShell is now available as well, .NET, JavaScript, and like a bunch of other options.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And just a quick question: if I wanted to, like, I know for the JavaScript, like if I'm developing locally on JavaScript, I have to have Node installed to be able to execute, even though I'm using the Azure function tool, the CLI tool. Is that the same thing for .NET? Like if I was developing with .NET, I do have to make sure I have .NET Core installed locally before I can use the execute like the code with Azure function CLI tool.
Locally, like if you want to use the CLI or Visual Code, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. There's a couple of things you need installed, but it's not too much, and also there's like great documentation to get started. So it's pretty easy too.
Yeah, we have like some couple of messages in the chat. Thank you, Mark, for like being so positive about. And Peter is super hyped. He has so much adrenaline going on right now with these demos. Thank you. Like no matter how simple a demo is, there's nothing satisfying as seeing it working. There's no feeling as great as that, like feeling of seeing your demo like basically like the first time you try it and it works out. It's the best feeling ever.
Oh yeah, definitely. That reassurance that you're doing something right, even if it's super small, it's like it's just enough for you to like keep going, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. I'm glad people are excited.
Yay. So okay, let's see. We managed to cover everything we wanted to show you all today, which is one, show you all the articles everyone wrote today, like today and yesterday, or for the week, and to like show you some demos on how to get started with serverless. I hope this was very well detailed for everyone out there. And if you are not a JavaScript or .NET developer, I'm sure you've seen that we didn't write any code here. It's just like clicking on settings and picking our language. So whatever language if you write Python, if you code in Python, you basically like see a Python boilerplate here that you can get started with. So I hope this proves to you that you don't need this is not about like Gwen and I being .NET or JavaScript developers and you don't have to be here. You can always be here every Friday, regardless of whether like you do any of these languages. We'll always find a way to like include you 100% here. That's it. That's like our demo. At this point we have like some time. So if you have questions, or if you just want to like hang out and chat about anything about like the surfing game, or or like or someone should send a feature request so people can play the game like collaboratively. Like we would send a link to someone and the person can just like compete us and stuff like that. Would be fun.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you want to like talk about like maybe this game, or like to talk about serverless function, or like the cool things you've seen people doing and stuff like that, just or literally if you just want to like say hi, like Robert just did. Hi, Robert. If you just want to say hi,
Hi,
and tell us,
Robert.
yeah, you want to say hi and just tell us like where you are currently based, or like your story about serverless or anything, or you have any question on serverless or cloud or front end or whatever you think like when and I can help you with. This is like, don't, there's nothing too basic and there's nothing unrelated. As long as it's serverless, it's cloud, it's dev, it's nerd stuff, we can try to ask us about games and stuff like that. We'll be happy to like if we have any answers for you, yeah, we'll be happy to discuss that.
Speaking about games, I don't know. Do you play a lot of video games? There's today the Tony Hawk Pro Skater, the new version comes out. It's out already. I'm so excited. I can't wait to play.
I've never played Tony Hawk. I've heard of it, but I don't know like what's the game about.
It's just like skateboarding, and then you have a bunch of like different like areas that you can skate. But it's cool because it was a game that came out like I don't know, like a while ago, and then they just redid it. So it's like remastered. But I remember playing it when I was like maybe 7. And it was so much fun. I can't wait. Like the graphics look great, and yeah, I'm just super excited.
Cool. I have like growing up as a kid from like Nigeria, most of the video games we played were like sports game, like things like soccer and stuff like that. So that's like the I'm not even like anyone who knows me personally on the stream knows I suck at it, but generally like I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by video games, and I like to play on as long as I'm not losing. So that's so if I'm your friend and you want to like maybe keep me interested in a game for a long time, just make sure at least even if I lose, like let's it be 50-50 and not like not like 80% of the time I'm losing.
Yeah. We got a question. Have either of you done anything with AI and the cloud?
Have you, Gwen?
I'm trying to think. I don't think so. Nothing recently, at least.
Yeah, so there's this thing called tricognitive service.
Oh wait! No, I remember. Yeah. I used cognitive services for sentiment analysis for this project that I did with like analyzing news stories about COVID-19. Yeah, I did that with that was a couple, and with Azure Functions. I think I did that like a couple months ago.
Yeah, so that's
cognitive services is cool.
Yeah, like
super cool.
Yeah, like it's like it's one of the coolest things I've ever worked with. Z, I know like I called you Z the last time because I don't know if I was pronouncing your name correctly. But hey Z, this is like you basically come here and just get an API key from if you want to do computer vision or face or like ink stuff, or if you want to do speech stuff or language or like all this kind of stuff. So you just get an API key, like just like you can do like a 7-day trial if you have an Azure account. Like you can just like you have a lot of option, a free trial option, and yeah, this is like all the prepackaged AI stuff you can do with you can do with the cloud with Azure as far as I know.
Very easy to use.
Yeah, it's super easy. Trust me. Like this is not one of those things that someone says it's easy, but it's not easy. Like all you just need, like for the speech or the text analysis, you basically grab a key and then you make a request with the key to an endpoint, and then you send like a text. Like you send a text message to it. Yeah, I wish there was a way to try this without like having an account, but yeah, I want
like a sandbox.
Yeah. But I don't know if there's any. But yeah, so if you have this key, you basically like let's say you type messages, and then the text analysis basically tells you how positive or negative the message is, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's like this is one I've basically like done a lot of demos. Cool. Okay. This like I'm super new to tech. Just the idea of AI learning and no hardware required to do it is interesting. Yeah, this is the thing I really like about like the fact that we do like all this software and AI stuff is that you just need a laptop. Like you just need like the most basic laptop will get you going. So yeah, you don't like if you have a basic laptop, all your computation will be done on the cloud, so you don't have to like worry about, okay, is this PC or like Mac powerful enough to do what I want to do. Yeah, so it's like it's one of these, like when people reach out to me and like what skill based learning should I do, and I'm like, hey, this is what worked for me, and I know like when it got to things like design and those kind of stuff, like stuff you don't need any computer to get started with. So Z, welcome. Like we're super happy that you made this choice to do this, and Gwen and I are always going to be here every Friday and on Twitter to like answer your questions. If you need like any guidance, just ping us and we'll be happy to help.
That's a good question. That was a good question. Thank you. ZD?
Yeah. He said we can call him Z. I don't know if it's yeah, I keep making that mistake. I'm sorry. But we can call the person Z.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Z.
I think we should do a thing where like when next time we ask people to introduce themselves and their pronouns, so we don't like make these assumptions, because it's
Yes, that is a good suggestion. Yes.
Yeah. So hi everyone, if you are in the chat and you want to reintroduce yourself, just say hi and let us know your pronouns so we can personalize chat, like talking to you a bit more, and especially in the proper way. It's ZL1. Oh, ZL1 is okay. Cool. That makes sense. But that's cooler, right? Feels like. do you play games? It feels like a gaming name. It feels like something I would answer in a Call of Duty battle.
Cool. The chat's been pretty lively today.
Yeah. It's we hit our 100 messages mark today again, which is super cool. Thank you everyone who keeps like sending messages. I think we had a bit more participation from Twitter today when compared to last on Wednesday. Like a lot of messages came from Twitter, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any more questions would be nice. I want to know where everyone's from. Yeah, I'm from the East Coast of the U.S., New York area. Christian, where are you from?
I'm currently in Dubai. It's super hot here. I'm stuck here. I can't travel to anywhere because. Well, yeah, it's like this is where I am currently, and yeah. Well, I'm originally from Nigeria, and like that's my number one home. I'm always there.
What about the chat? Anybody want to tell us where they're from?
Since we have Z's attention, we can start with him. Z, do you want to tell us where you're from? By the way, he's telling us that he mostly plays MMOs or MOBAs. I don't know what that stands for. Oh, I play a lot of God of War as well. I love God of War. Yeah. Canelo is in Toronto.
Oh, I love Toronto.
Yeah, I have a Canadian visa, and I really like. I hope I'm able to use it before it expires.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you want to tell us your pronoun you want us to address you with? Hi, Mark. Mark is from Netherlands. He said it's quite rainy these days. That's assuming Mark is a he. Like how like when you say rainy, does it like rain every day, or like it rains like few days in a week or something like that? Coffee Code has like a mixed root. He's Spanish and he's living in Jordan. Coffee Code Jordan is in the Middle East, right? I'm not sure. Do you know Gwen? If in the Middle East. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, me
Cool.
too. I know like my DJ teacher is from Jordan. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, Middle East.
Yeah, he said it's an offer from Dubai. Thank you for joining. Like I have someone who's close to me. So Marka was asking, does it rain like every single day or maybe like few days in a week, or like how crazy it is? And if it rains, does it rain for a very long time with all the thunderstorm, or just like the nice type of rain that's like comes with a nice breeze and all this kind of stuff? By the way, for anyone dropping by, we just finished. We have like we have three like we have three stages in the stream. We finished the first two. The first one is we go through all the articles people have submitted for the week for Serverless September. In the second stage, we went through a demo where we showed everyone how to set up um serverless APIs. And if you right now we're just chatting, which is the last stage. We're just chatting with everyone and just being like having fun with the community. If you are confused on what's going on, feel free to rewind. I know like if you're on Twitter, you can like rewind, or if you're on Twitch, you can like go back like a few maybe an hour ago, and you would like catch up on everything that's been happening. Hey, Simona is here. Gwen Simona just said hi on Twitch.
Oh. Hi, Simona. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about what we're covering next week?
Okay, cool. Yep. Let's see. Let me get that quickly. So please, that shouldn't discourage you to keep like chatting and keep like sending us all those messages. We are not done like knowing where you're from, but while we wait for you to do that, let's take a look at something we'll be talking about next week. So just going to open this up here. Yeah, this is you all remember how I was saying that we have a lot of options and not just HTTP triggers which can trigger, like, first of all, remember how I said that Azure function or serverless generally is event driven, which means that nothing happens, and that saves you money, but nothing happens until an event is triggered. Now, something has to trigger that event. In this case, it's what we call, you guessed right, triggers. So next week Friday, which is 11th, the same time, 10 a.m. is 10. We'll be going through the different, like some of the triggers we have that we can use, and see how those, and you can see how you can use those practically. So today we've just indirectly like taking a look at the HTTP trigger. But next week we'll see like a few more and see what we can do with triggers. Do you want to say something about this, Gwen?
I was gonna ask you, what's your favorite trigger? What's your favorite Azure Functions trigger?
Yeah. So my favorite is, I have two favorites. One is the HTTP trigger, which we've seen today, and the second one is the durable function trigger, which like the one that triggers the orchestration, which is one of the things we would see this month as well. But for everyone who was here on Wednesday, we talked about like how you can make your like we understand that HTTP is stateless, but with function you can create some form of state around like what you want your function to remember the next time it executes. So this is where you will bring in like durable function and like things like orchestration. Like the first time one of my colleagues tried explaining it to me, it sounded intimidating, but trust me, when we visited, it's super straightforward to understand. Yeah. How about you? What's your favorite?
I love them all, but my favorite is probably Cosmos DB. I'm just like, the whole concept of like serverless database computing, I think is just fantastic. So Cosmos DB is definitely like right now. I go through phases. Like I really liked HTTP starting, and then I really liked Durable. Yeah, like just like you said, Durable was one of those concepts where I was like, what is going on?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
then when you start to work with them, and then
yeah,
you see how it actually goes, how like the pieces fit,
yeah,
it makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
But now, as of recently, Cosmos DB is my favorite.
Simona said she's joining us from Lassi in Romania. Simona, how does Lassi feel like right now? Is it rainy or sunny, or like is it the beach type of weather, or like you have to stay indoors? Yeah, and Simona is a big fan of durable as well.
I don't know if Jeff is still here, but I know Jeff is a big fan of Durable too.
Yeah. Jeff is one that made me to like start like looking. Jeff and Anthony too. They made me like, okay, really.
Oh yeah, Anthony.
Yeah. So really want to see what this durable thing was about then. Cool. Mona said it's been cloudy in Romania, but it was sunny the entire week.
Cool. I forgot what I was gonna say.
That's I'm checking if like we missed anyone's page.
It's Friday. It's Friday. My mind knows it's Friday, so I'm ready for the weekend. So,
so apparently my weekend was today is not a work day in Dubai. Like weekends are Fridays and Saturdays. So like right now my weekend started like yesterday evening.
Okay, we got two questions there.
Yeah. So the first one is from Z. What are some study techniques that you guys use to learn the things, information? Okay, this. Do you want to go for this first?
To learn new things and retain the information. Okay. Well, first thing I'm gonna say is, I think we all learn in like very different ways, and like understanding how we learn is like a very important step first. But for me, I like to get like just a little bit of theory, enough to not get bored, because even if you like really like a subject, if you get like too stuck on like just reading and not doing, then you kind of it kind of like gets a little boring for me. So then I like to just get hands on, right? If I can implement whatever it is that I'm trying to learn. Or another thing that I really like to do is like get something that I already know and see how I can maybe integrate the new thing that I'm trying to learn with the thing I already know, because it makes it easier. Yeah, so that's just really just like try to get hands on as soon as I can. I see you got something like a TED Talk here. What's this about?
So this is something I shared with like Simona recently, but this is something, it really changed my life with how I learned, and that's why like I've been able to at the same time like I can learn, I get to be able to learn technical stuff at the same time, like learn like all my hobbies and the things I care about, like playing pianos and being a DJ and like music production. At first I was discouraged from learning anything because of the research study that says if you want to be master, and in quotes, if you want to be master in anything, you have to spend about, I don't know if it's 1,000 or 10,000 hours on that thing.
10,000.
10,000, yeah. So that when I saw that stuff, it discouraged me from trying all the things I really wanted to do in life, like maybe learn how to play piano, until I watched this TED Talk, and he was like, that research was, if you want to be, that's 10,000 hour research is if you want to be the Cristiano Ronaldo of like football, or the Serena Williams of tennis. But sometimes we just want to just be good enough like DJs to impress our friends. I don't want to be the world best DJ. I just want to make sure that I play for Gwen and she's happy with it, that kind of thing. So yeah, so that was the point he was trying to make, and he learned how to play the ukulele in 20 hours, and he played like about 5 songs on stage, and that was his 20th hour of learning the ukulele. So it was very life changing for me, and I really recommend it for everyone who who wants motivation to learn something that feels like it's too big to learn. And sometimes when you gradually start learning those things, you would end up realizing that, okay, I don't mind if I spend 10 years of my life on this thing, or maybe I don't care about this thing so much. It's okay if I drop it now. Like if you with this, if you have the mindset of like in 20 hours you might be good enough to just impress your friends, it makes it easier to learn anything you want, and then you can easily just pick one of those things and take it to the next level and maybe make a career out of it. But you don't have to like maybe get scared. Maybe like if you want to be like a very like a good cloud engineer, you don't have to be the one that's built the entire Azure architecture, but it can be the one that is like can be like just like Gwen and I who just love to like write serverless code and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the mindset I have towards this. And then recently I've been learning how to take a lot of notes, because I don't want to watch a 10 hours course on cloud native twice. Now, when I take notes, I'm able to like pick like the things I know. So someone said that taking notes is creating a course for your future self, but the actual things you need, like not like a course would have like all the details for trying to like cover every space for every single person that comes from every single background, every single level. So there are chances if you're watching a tutorial that you know half of what the person is saying, but you just want the other half. So if you take notes, you don't have to watch the entire 1 hour tutorial anymore. You've written the 50% of that thing you need, and you keep it in a place where even if you're not going to use it immediately, you know that I have something on durable functions that if the day ever comes, I know that the knowledge gap I have can be filled by the notes I've written. So this video and taking notes are the two things that guide me when it comes to learning. I hope that helped you, Z. Okay. Then Simona was asking what's your favorite learning resource. Gwen, do you want to go first?
What's your favorite serverless learning resource? Yeah. That's a good question. I'm gonna be like super cliche and just say like the Microsoft documentation is really good. The quick starts are really, really good. That's really what like my go-to. I kind of just like, I'll Google I don't know, Azure Functions HTTP trigger, and then it'll be like the Microsoft docs, and it really has all the information I need.
Yeah.
So I think that's like my go-to right now. I can't really think of another one. Hold on. Come back to me. You go.
Okay. Mine is like the learning, the learning part for serverless, for building serverless application on the Microsoft docs. So the cool thing about this, personally, I like guided learning. I don't know how to just like stab at docs trying to find what's the actual thing I'm looking for. But with guided learning, like the MS Learn, it takes you from 0 gradual increments to 1 and 2, and just like what we're doing with this live streams, where we are going from the most basic thing and then incrementing for the next Fridays. So this is what the Learn module does. It defines a path for you, like this is the serverless part, and you can start first of all like understand like from the business side of things where you might need serverless. Then you move on to actually building your first serverless application, which is what we did today. Then you move on to creating triggers, which is what we'll do the next time. Then you move on to like triggers, like using bindings, the input and output bindings, and then durable functions, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so this is like I trust, but I basically like give all my trust to this process, knowing that it would incrementally help me understand how
yeah, it's a great resource.
Yeah, and then Simona's favorite is serverless.email. Let's open it and see. Share the link. Serverless.email. Oh, it's a newsletter. Cool. This I love this. I love when like I'm on my couch and like an email comes in and I get to like just scan through stuff and like see all the new stuff and all the modern ways of using like a particular tool. So in this case, if you want to keep up to date with serverless, content, this is the place to be. So if you go to serverless.email, thank you so much for Simona for sharing this. To everyone listening, if you go to serverless.email, just type in your email address here. If you would basically, I think it's probably like a weekly issue, and you would get like updates on what's new to serverless, and it covers every single part and every single part and bits of serverless that you would want to know, I guess. Coffee Code asked what made your favorite programming language your favorite.
That's a good question. .NET, or I guess C# is my favorite because of .NET. And I kind of fell into it. Like the job that I had, it was like a .NET kind of shop, so I had to learn it. And at the beginning, I know I didn't want to. I'm like, no, I don't. Just because I had like the like, I don't know. My first impression of .NET was like it's like super like dated and no one uses it anymore. So then I was like, I really want to learn Python, but then like obviously you kind of just have to pick up the tool that you work with, right? So then I kind of dived into .NET, and then I found Azure Functions, and then I found Blazor, and then just like a bunch of things that I could use with C# and .NET. And then I realized that you can like make games with C#. It's just like such a diverse language. Like the possibilities are endless. So that's kind of why we have like a love-hate relationship with .NET and myself, but it's my favorite. Yeah.
Cool. Mine is my favorite language is JavaScript. But what happened? It's JavaScript was my most hated language in like for a while. I was doing literally, like, I know you won't believe this, Gwen, but I was a .NET developer, and then I got my first job forced me to do more of PHP because it was a web dev job. They weren't doing .NET, which I was really sad about then. So I was doing a lot of PHP, and then every single time I did PHP, I would cross over to JavaScript to like maybe do some interactive stuff on the front end, and then come back to PHP, like with jQuery. You know, like when you have like this website that needs to like be interactive, like make an Ajax request, and you would use jQuery then. So very soon I started like realizing how fascinating it was for me to have a page open without reloading it, like make a request, manipulate what's happening in the browser, and like not have to reload the page. So that was my first attempt, like, okay, this JavaScript thing, if you could do something like this amazing, maybe I should try you out. And I actually like became like an Angular developer before, like the Angular 1 developer before I actually went back to learn JavaScript. So I started searching like what's the fastest way to be able to like build apps with just JavaScript, and then it was like the Angular 1 like wave back then. So I started learning Angular 1 without learning JavaScript, which I would never advise anyone to do such as just something like that again. But yeah, so after learning Angular 1, I was like, okay, I really love this framework. I have to come back and understand JavaScript really well before I go back to the frameworks in like frameworks ecosystem. So I went back and did all the JavaScript. When I came back, React was already out, and then yeah, that was where my life became very complicated. But but yeah, that's Coffee Code. That's why I love JavaScript. It was like there's a huge story behind it, and yeah. Let's see. Mark was just like saying that Mona's resource is a very good resource. Thank you. Okay, I think well, like we are literally right on time.
Yeah.
Okay, we have one more question from Simona before we go. Any tools you found recently that you love?
I can't think.
You can think of any right now, right?
I mean, I recently switched from Mac OS to Windows. Does that count? And I love it.
Yeah.
Does that count as a new
Yeah,
tool?
yeah, that's the tool of tools. So yeah, that's a huge one. I think it's
Yeah.
Simona can judge if that's a tool. Simona is switching from Mac to Windows 8 to
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, you know what I discovered? Well, not recently, but WSL2, which is the Linux subsystem for
Windows. Yeah,
Windows.
yeah.
So cool, so cool. I can't wait to like dive into deeper, but it's just the Windows world is like it's like so different from what it was,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I'm glad that I'm on Windows now.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
guess that counts as a new tool.
yeah, that. I know mine was a little bit biased because when I say it's like a Swiss knife of tools. Yeah. but I like I mine was a bit biased. Like I had to I'm a very heavy Mac user, but I'm like everyone asks me like you work at Microsoft but then you are always using Mac. Like maybe at first I didn't care about this kind of like feedback, but at some point I'm like, this is actually a good question. This What message do I send to people? Like my company makes an operating system but then I don't I don't use it. So I'm like, okay, I'm like, okay, let me try Windows. And I went back to Windows. I'm like, everything's amazing right now. I'm at the phase where I have like this big CPU in my home where like I use it for production and like all my DJ stuff. Like I'm yet to migrate to coding because of like the shell. I don't. It will take me time to like learn PowerShell, and I haven't really tried out the subsystem. But like once I'm able to figure out like the subsystem and PowerShell, I'm 100% like move to like Windows. It's been like a great experience.
Yeah. Windows Terminal. Mark says Windows Terminal is very nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Like it's a dream come true for me. Like the switch has been pain free. And I'm very happy. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I think we're right on time.
Okay. I wanted to share my own tool before we go. For anyone who does any type of this, I don't know if it's 6 months to judge, but I'm going to bring this on the screen before we go. This is something called loopback. Now, if you are wondering how you are able to get, like, I'm able to channel the sound from Predzo and Spotify, as well as like you can see as I'm speaking, the audio levels are changing, and the music. If I switch this off now, the music goes off. Okay, so if I switch it back on, the music comes back. I'm in on the stream, so I'm able to like channel all the sound. I don't have to play the entire Windows sound. I can pick like specific apps I want to pick sound from, and basically like move the sound from this to a channel, and then from this channel I can pick it from OBS, which I then use for streaming. So the same thing goes with our voice. So you can see this is, if you say something, this would come up. Just say something, you would like.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So you can see like the audio level goes like this is basically taking your sound and my sound from my mic into the channels, and then and then I'm using my headset to monitor so like there's a lot of audio routing which I would have to like use like some electronic gadgets to do all this, but like this is a software that does all this routing for you without the wires. Yeah. Thank you, Simona. Thank you. Cool. Okay, so thank you everyone for hanging out with us. This has been like it is a little bit emotional for me because I wasn't expecting us to have this much great time. I was like expecting to have just maybe Gwen and I and maybe 2 other people in the chat, but we've had like a consistent like amount of like high number of people joining us from different places. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Simona. Thank you, Z. Thank you, everyone who was here today. We had a great time chatting with. Thank you, and have a great weekend. Bye.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.